Hey you guys, and welcome to my October wrap-up, and hopefully this will be the last time that I ever had to film this, because I filmed it a few times before and it just did not go well. And then the other times that I was supposed to film, I was busy all that day, and by the time I got home and I changed into my pajamas, I hadn't remembered until I changed into my pajamas, and I wasn't like, I was tired and I wasn't getting back up. So anyway, hopefully this will be the last time, and I'm sorry for being so late, you guys, but let's go ahead and get started. The first book that I read in October was The Greyhaired book by Neil Gaiman with illustrations by Dave McKean. Kind of starts off like this. I mean, it probably wasn't the best illustration, but here goes another illustration as well. There's like all these pretty illustrations periodically throughout the book, which I really loved. And this book follows this boy named Nobody Owens, Bod for short, whose family is murdered within the first few pages of this book, and he ends up at this graveyard, and the inhabitants of the graveyard decide to like make him one of his own. So he's fine as long as he doesn't step foot outside of the graveyard. Then the man who killed his family won't be able to get to him. So anyway, he grows up in this graveyard, and it's so amazing. I really love the inhabitants of this graveyard and how he grows up and who he meets and like stuff like that. It's funny because when you see like the inhabitants of the graveyard, you'll like they'll tell you like their name, basically the date when they're born and died, and like an epitaph, and it's just like I kind of just like that stuff. And there's kind of like worlds inside worlds in here, and I really enjoyed it. And Bod was awesome, and you know he was a kid and he did stupid things and he did good things, and I was just so attached to him. By the end of this book, I was just like, no, I just want to keep you forever. And of course I updated it while I was doing this, so I'll link down the Goodreads like updates down below if you guys want to see that. Just loved it, and I didn't want to let it go. 5 out of 5 stars to the Greyhaired book. If he ever makes another one in the book in this world, I will definitely pre-order it. It is definitely worth it. And yeah. Moving on. The next book was Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick, and I hated it with like for so many reasons. I just like, you know, if I could just go inside the book and just kill the main character, it would really help me release the anger of some sorts. I'm still in the middle of writing a review of this. If you guys follow me on Goodreads, if you don't, follow me, because eventually I will put up a review. I did a non-spoiler review. I just need to like check it, but then I thought I really need to do a spoiler review, so I'm in the middle of that. And but every time I just think about this book, it just raises my blood pressure. Anyway, it follows this girl and she gets kidnapped. This dumb girl and her even dumber friend who I gave the dumb award to, and then the dumb kidnappers, and then oh my god, everybody in this book was so basically irritating. I just wanted them all to die. Why couldn't they die? I'm just gonna move on now. So the next book that I read was Every You, Every Me by David Levithan, and it has photographs by Jonathan Farmer. So anyway, this book was actually kind of made by like David, I guess, asked Jonathan to like give him photographs and he would create a story around that. So that sounded really interesting, number one. But I love like the prose in here, which is just like, come on, you know one me just like I know one you, but you can't know every me and I can't know every you, which is just hot. And then they have that write out thing going on in here. So like you'll see like in the first line of the book, it was like, it was your birthday, the first one after you, and left, vanished, and like those are crossed out and just were like, we're gone. So it does that a lot in this book. But it follows this boy who is getting like all these photographs left of himself and just places he knows, and he's kind of being stalked in a way, and he thinks maybe it was his friend like came back, and there's just like the story of like, there's this other story of like, you know, making the right decision and kind of dealing with that decision and grief and all this kind of stuff. And it was really interesting. And I struggled because I gave it a 4.5 and I ended up giving it a 4 instead, since, you know, Goodreads doesn't do half stars. Between 4 and 5, and I think I'm going to reread it later on and see my feelings again. But for now it's a 4-star, but I really enjoyed it, and you guys should definitely check it out if you guys get time. And then the next book that I read was Kiss of Broken Glass by Madeline Hudrick, and I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Technically a 3.5. Again, it fell back on the 3 spectrum, and I really like this book. It was a really fast read. It was told in that poetry form, like, you know, like Crank by Ellen Hopkins kind of thing, and it follows this girl, and she like was found cutting in school, and now she's put in a 72 psychiatric hold at this like hospital, and we're just kind of following her journey. But I liked it a lot, kind of like I liked it, but I just didn't feel like that wow feeling, like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like, I liked it, and I think that you should read it. And it was like, there was nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't like the most amazing thing either. So I will buy a physical copy of this book. I think I will, and just reread it and maybe see if my feelings change, maybe, because I did, but maybe we'll see. I don't know until then. And then on to my last book that I read was The Enchanted by Renee Denfield, which, you guys, this and the Greyhaired book, even for different reasons, just tied for like my favorite book of that month. Just like amazing. I love the prose in this, like it's magical realism kind of thing going on, and the writer is just wonderful writing. Anyway, it follows this guy who's on death row, and we don't know who he is, but he tells us the going-ons of the prison. So what's happening is the lady who they just call her the lady who's trying to get this other prisoner, or just prisoners in general, but for this book is York, off of death row. She's like a prison investigator kind of person, and kind of follow that storyline. And then there's a priest who she interacts with. He's more like of the fallen variety, so that's interesting. And then we have the warden, and we follow guards, and we even learn stuff that's going on outside of the death row kind of things going on. And I think one thing you have to, like, even, you know, beyond, like, I think I got so entranced, like, with the writing of this, but then you, like, even with that writing, you're just so done. Just so sad at some parts, because it is death row, it is prison, things are happening and stuff, and you're just like, oh my god, that is like so depressing. So maybe you might have to be in a mood for this, but I really enjoyed it, and I do look forward to rereading this sometime in the future. I was trying not to like after like 52 pages, I was like basically updating every page, so I was like, no, if I want to like finish this book anytime soon, I have to like put away from the computer, just read straight through. And I really liked it and enjoyed it, and I loved it. It was one of my favorites this month, and I already told you guys that these two were my favorites this month. I didn't have any favorite new couples really, because I don't feel like any of these books like really did a couple thing. Maybe Black Eyes, but we won't discuss that, because then I'd have to get the scissors again to illustrate my point, you know. And then just so much beautiful writing in these two books that I'm just like, there's like so many quotes I want to talk about, but I'll just link my updates that I did do for this one so you guys can get what I was talking about. And those are all the books that I read this month. So you guys let me know down below if you guys have read any of the books that I talked about in this video, whether or not you liked them, you hated them, you plan on reading them, and what was your favorite book of last month. What was your favorite couple? Anything about the book that set up for you? One of the things I did notice is that these are all basically like standalone, so I had a standalone month last month, because I don't think any of these are getting sequels, the other two included. So I'm gonna talk to you guys later, and bye.